I want to talk to you a little bit about PEX tubing. Most of what we use for renovations and old buildings, you have basically 3/4 and 1/2 inch. Comes in blue and red. Blue's cold, red's hot. Mainly, right now I want to talk to you about one concern. If this PEX tubing has any chance of having any kind of animals around it, don't install PEX tubing, because the animals will eat right through it and you'll have a problem on your hand. So that's one concern I have with the PEX. Another thing I want to mention, if you have a situation where the pipes could freeze, PEX is the tubing you want to use, because it's very resistant to splitting when it freezes. It usually expands and then contracts when it thaws. So it's good for freeze protection, bad if animals can get to it, which is a large concern when you're dealing with old homes, like mostly I am. Now, PEX tubing cut's really easy. Use one of these cutters. It's a tubing and pipe cutter. You can use this for many other things, but it wipes off PEX tubing pretty good there. That's all it takes to cut it. It comes in 250-foot rolls, so it's very versatile as far as running long lines. Mostly we still use copper, but there are situations where snaking these up through the walls is really handy. And I'll get some video of where we used it to get into hard places or snaking it up through the walls where copper probably wasn't going to work or be a lot harder. So it definitely is a handy thing to know how to do in certain situations. Now, if there's any chance of someone breaking in, install PEX tubing so it'll steal all your copper. That's another reason for this. If you think someone might break in or could break in, or use PEX, and you'll save yourself a lot of copper and a lot of money, because you're not going to steal your PEX. Basically, they have all kinds of fittings for PEX tubing. Here's a 3/4 inch piece you would sweat onto a piece of 3/4 inch pipe, and you go from copper to PEX tubing. And we use these a lot when we stake up through walls or into tight areas. Crawl spaces. Even though there's probably an issue with freezing in crawl spaces, if a rodent gets in there, I'm going to have to go with the copper and hope it don't split under there if it never freezes. So it's really easy to use. There's numerous ways to put these together, but I like these clamps here. There's also a ring that I use sometimes, but most of the time I use that. And you want to slide your clamp over your pipe. Of course, this will be soldered onto a piece of 3/4 inch. And all you do is fit that in there. Take your tool, which looks a little bit like this. It's used for half, 3/4. You put your tool on there, and you pull it, clamp it, and you got it. It's a little easier when the pipe's connected to something, but you squeeze it, and there you go, there you have it. squeeze it until it doesn't go anymore. Let me show you there. You can see how the fitting is, looks like a little round hole there. And that is no leak. That sucker will not leak. Another thing I want to mention about PEX tubing. Now, when you do have freeze damage, and I've done this quite a few times, where it was hard to slide the copper in, sometimes I just use the PEX tubing and little areas, just weave it in there, and especially like behind tubs. I fixed a couple millings I went into for flipping, and I use PEX tubing behind the tub area where it froze, because you're running into freezing problems all the time when you're taking over old buildings and renovating them. So it's definitely versatile. You can get into spaces. It's so easy to make these connections. You can go solder onto copper, go into PEX, go back into copper. It's just all around something you have to know how to do. But basically I wanted to make this video to show you a little bit about it, tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and but it is a necessity that you know how to do this, even if you don't use it a lot. Because there are circumstances where you will need to use it. And basically, one other thing I want to mention is eventually I'll make videos on this, but there's two ways to install it. There's a home run system, which all the pipes go from their fixture all the way back to a main manifold, which I hardly ever do that. I usually run like you run regular copper lines, kind of like a branch system. You run one main branch, and then you cut your fittings and your branch lines off of that. Your feeders off the main branch. So I run this 3/4 inch as the main line, and then off the main line, of course, we run half inch to all the fixtures. Now, they sell all the fittings for that, and there's a lot of fittings available, so I just happen to say that you gotta know how to use it, even if you don't do whole classes and packs. You gotta know how to use it and have it on hand. So anyway, we have a lot of this on hand. Don't use it a lot, but when we do, it's much appreciated and it definitely comes in handy.